Scottish football is on fire. Rangers hit out at Celtic with a furious statement, while Alistair Johnston stands firm on his future. John McGinn can't believe what he's hearing from a top Celtic target. Meanwhile, Marseille are circling Hamza Igamane. Vaclav Cerny looks set to bolt from Glasgow after his wild old firm celebration. And today, we face Greece in the Nations League. So let's look back at our last victory over them. Those were just the headlines. Stick around for the full story and even more Scottish football updates. Rangers have come out swinging with a statement addressing their own fans' use of pyrotechnics at Celtic Park during Sundays. And let's be honest, when a club has to publicly call out its own supporters for being frankly embarrassing, you know things have gone too far. Both Celtic and Rangers had already been hit with a 500 ticket reduction for their next League Cup match at Hampton due to previous pyro antics, but now an additional 800 tickets are on the chopping block. All because some fans just couldn't resist setting off a few fireworks literally. Rangers made it clear they're not having it, slamming those responsible and warning that this kind of behavior is only punishing their fellow supporters. But pyrotechnics weren't the only issue in this derby circus. Rangers also pointed out the not-so-great tradition of objects being lobbed onto the pitch, with their players and staff being targeted at Parkhead. It's not the first time either Celtic fans were quick to condemn the incident at Ibrox when Arne Engels was hit in the face, and rightly so. But as much as rival fans love pointing fingers, there's no excuse for either side when it comes to this kind of nonsense. So here's the big question for you. If clubs are losing ticket allocations and fans are being banned, should teams start playing these derbies behind closed doors to put an end to the madness? Or is that punishing the majority for the actions of a few? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Alistair Johnston is brushing off all the noise about his future, despite some big names sniffing around. The Celtic right back has been a standout performer this season, helping drive the team toward another potential treble, and he's even caught the eye in Europe. Now, with Premier League clubs like Fulham and Ipswich Town reportedly interested and Inter Milan lurking as well, it's no surprise the rumor mill is in overdrive. And just to stir the pot a little more, Canada boss Jesse Marsch has chimed in saying Johnston needs a bigger challenge because, in his words, some weeks the games are too easy for him. Ouch. That's not exactly a glowing review of Scottish football, is it? But Johnston isn't having it. He's made it clear he's in no rush to leave, happily settled in Glasgow with his fiancée and their dog who, by the way, he refuses to take out of Scotland, a man with priorities. He knows what playing for Celtic means, and he's fully embracing the pressure, even after that Derby Day defeat to Rangers. Now, let's get into it. Marsch's comment. Is he right? Has the Scottish League become too easy for top players? And do they need to move on to truly test themselves? Or is that just another example of people looking down on Scottish football? Let me know what you think. Lennon Miller certainly isn't holding back, is he? The young Motherwell midfielder, heavily linked with a move to Celtic, has made a statement that oozes confidence. He's just broken into the Scotland squad. And while he admits he won't be the best player immediately, give him a couple of months and he reckons he could be. Now, that's not exactly the kind of humility you might expect from an 18-year-old stepping into international football, but it's definitely the kind of belief that makes headline. And who better to react than John McGinn, the Aston Villa captain, who's no stranger to proving doubters wrong. Had a chuckle and reckons Miller is probably already thinking, why did I say that? But I said plenty of stupid things when I was coming through at St. Mirren. But McGinn isn't criticizing the youngster, far from it. He actually respects the attitude, saying that young players need that kind of confidence. In his own words, they aren't here to make up the numbers. They are here to take our places. If they're eventually better than the ones that are here, we no longer get called up. McGinn knows exactly what it takes to make the step up, and he's clearly keeping a close eye on Miller. His brother, Paul McGinn, plays alongside the teenager at Motherwell and has been singing his praises for years. John himself watches Motherwell regularly and says Miller isn't just talented, he's got the right mentality. He's a great teammate, and he's mature beyond his years. That's not something you hear about every young prospect. And let's be honest, the timing of all this couldn't be more interesting. After Celtic's derby defeat to Rangers and their midfield struggling without Callum McGregor, the clamor for a proper reinforcement in the middle of the park is getting louder. Fans are crying out for energy, composure, and a bit of fight in that midfield Does Miller tick all those boxes? So let's get right into it. Has Miller got the right kind of fearless personality that Celtic need to shake things up? Or has he just put a massive target on his back before he's even truly proven himself? Let's hear your thoughts. Rangers are in for a busy summer, and it looks like Hamza Igamane could be at the center of it. The 22-year-old forward, who's made quite the impact at Ibrox, is now a top target for Marseille. With 10 league goals and 4 more in Europe, he's caught plenty of attention. But should Rangers even consider letting him go? French reports suggest that Marseille are desperate to sign him, and they might need to cough up around £8,300,000 to make it happen. But here's the twist: Rangers don't need to sell. Igamane is under contract until 2029, and if the 4-9 takeover goes through, the club's financial situation could look very different. Not to mention, English clubs like Everton, Newcastle, and Spurs also circling, and if a bidding war starts, Marseille might not stand a chance. But that's not the only drama at Ibrox. Vaclav Cerny is in hot water after his, let's call it unconventional, celebration against Celtic spraying water at the home crowd after Igamane's last-minute winner. Now, that little stunt has him facing an 8-game ban and a police Scotland investigation. And according to TV pundit Daryl Curry, Cerny might already have one foot out the door. His take? As soon as I saw him do it, I thought he must be leaving. He's getting out of the city. It's a tricky situation for Rangers. Cerny has been a standout performer this season, with 17 goals and 7 assists in 44 games. He's still on loan from Wolfsburg, but with the 49 ERS takeover looming, the club might be tempted to make his move permanent if they can get past the controversy. And let's not forget, Rangers are still in the Europa League, with a huge quarterfinal tie against Bilbao coming up. If they want to go all the way, Cerny could be crucial. So let's hear your take. Should Rangers cash in on Igamane now, or would selling him be a step backward? And what about Cerny? Does he deserve to stay despite the controversy, or has he already burned his bridges at Ibrox? Drop your thoughts in the comment. Scotland's last win over Greece came nearly 3 decades ago, and the footballing world looked very different back then. It was August 16, 1995, and Craig Brown's Scotland side were battling to qualify for Euro 96, with the match deadlocked and the pressure mounting. Up stepped none other than Ally McCoist off the bench, of course, to bury a header from a pinpoint John Collins cross. 1-0, job done. Scotland on their way to the Euros. Fast forward to today, and most of Steve Clarke's squad weren't even born when that match took place. So where are the heroes of '95 now? Well, in goal, you had the legendary Jim Leighton, Aberdeen's finest, who went on to coach at Pittodrie and Huntly after hanging up his gloves. In defense, Stuart McKimmie, another Aberdeen icon, retired after over 500 games for the Dons, while Tom Boyd became a Celtic legend, captaining the club to a historic treble. He's still a regular face at Parkhead today, especially on Celtic TV. Then you had Stuart McCall, the Leeds-born Scot, who ran the Rangers midfield throughout the 90s. He went on to have a solid managerial career, including a spell in charge at Ibrox. Alongside him was Colin Calderwood, then at Spurs, who later turned to coaching, managing clubs like Nottingham Forest and Hibs. Meanwhile, Tosh McKinley, another Celtic man, took his talents abroad before ending his career at Kilmarnock. Up top, Scotland's attack was led by Duncan Shearer and Darren Jackson. Shearer, an Aberdeen goal machine, later moved into coaching, while Jackson's career saw him cross the Edinburgh divide from Hibs to Hearts before moving into coaching and agency. The midfield, though, was full of star power. Craig Burley, who played for Celtic before heading south, is now best known for his, let's say, strong opinions as an ESPN pundit. Then you had Gary McAllister, the team's captain that night, who would go on to play alongside Steven Gerrard at Liverpool before becoming his assistant at Rangers. And of course, John Collins, the man who delivered that perfect cross for McCoist's winner, left Celtic for Monaco, had spells with Everton and Fulham, and later managed Hibs before becoming assistant at Celtic under Ronnie Deila. Now, here's a thought: Scotland haven't beaten Greece since that night in 1995. So, as we head into this Nations League clash, the big question is, does Steve Clarke's team have the same level of quality as Craig Brown's squad back then? Or has Scottish football lost some of its bite over the years? Let's hear your thoughts. If you haven't seen Scottish football yesterday's video yet, You're missing out. Go check it out now.